Do you have the right to shoot in order to stop the person who's trying to harm you, even at the risk that someone who is innocent could be harmed? Welcome back to Lexio. My name is Sean Hiller. As we speak, there is a war happening right now in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. And many of us are asking the question, what are we to think about this conflict? Where is the morality in this conflict? Who has the moral upper hand in this conflict to pursue justice? And it's a very difficult question, and we'll probably never know all the ins and outs as to this conflict and to this war, all the intricacies of it. But for those of us looking at it from the outside, which almost everyone is, we're hearing different voices talk about this from all different movements, from Christian movements where they're discussing the rights of the war. Israel has these rights. Iran has these rights. You're seeing it from Catholics. We're seeing it from every different type of denomination of Christian and church. And it leaves a lot of us confused as to how to view this conflict and who does have the moral high ground to go pursue justice and do what needs to be done to protect their people. So as opposed to giving you my opinion, because honestly, I don't really think much of my opinion. I submit to the authority of the church, of the Catholic Church, like a good Catholic should, and I'm trying to pursue that. So today in this video, I am going to relay to you what the Catholic moral teaching is on this conflict between Israel and Iran. And because we can never know all the different scenarios that are going on in this conflict, I'm going to give you hypothetical scenarios that should encompass a lot of what we're seeing coming from there. And I'm hoping to capture it as all of us are seeing it from the outside, that this is what could be going on. This is the Catholic moral teaching on it. This is what could be going on. This is what the Catholic Church would say about it. And again, I want to state, because I don't know all of the facts. I don't know if anyone knows all of the facts in this war. I am simply going to present to you the facts that we know and the things that we have access to. And that we're going to use those things, those facts, as our hypotheticals to answer that question. What would the church say about the morality of this particular issue? What do we make of this? And the beautiful thing as a Catholic is we have a very sound and solid moral code from the teachings of the church. So we're going to use those teachings today to figure out what we should make of this conflict in the Middle East. Let's dive into it. Before we dive into it, guys, if you have not already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video so you never miss out on any of the content we put out. The name of the channel is Lexio, meaning we read things, and we read things through the lens of the church. In today's video, we're talking about how the church would respond to what is going on, the moral code of it, who has the moral high ground on this issue. We talk about several different topics like this, all things pertaining to our Lord Jesus Christ and learning more about him through the lens of the church. If you can get down with that, subscribe, and we'll see you on the channel. Let's get back to this. So the first hypothetical I want to lay out, and I believe this is the hypothetical that most people would see this conflict as we're viewing it from America, from the United States. This is how this conflict is being presented to us. So we're going to judge it based off how it's being presented. So the conflict as it stands today is right now, Iran is bombing Israel. And the way they are bombing Israel, they're firing missiles from Iran over to Israel. And these missiles are targeting, it doesn't seem as if they're targeting specific Israeli war bases or specific Israeli military bases. It seems like they're just randomly going towards civilian populations, and it's going toward the civilian population. And Israel is counterattacking. They're shooting down several of Iran's missiles from the air. They're doing that, but they're also making pre-planned counterattacks to Iran, and they're taking out different Iran military bases. They're taking out specific leaders in the Iranian regime, and they're being very intentional about who they're going after and how they're doing that. But let's escalate things a little bit. Let's say that this turns into a fully fledged war, and Israel decides that they are going to unleash all of their military prowess on Iran and really decimate the Iranian military regime as well as the Iranian people. Remember, there are innocent people in the mix here. It's not just military versus military. There are innocent civilians, men, women, and children at play, both in Iran and in Israel. So what happens if Israel does that? And we're going to use a term today that the church dubs double effect. The principle of double effect is a key moral principle in Catholic ethics. When an action has two effects, one intended and good and the other unintended and harmful. That's the same thing that we're talking about with Israel. If Israel went after Iran, they would be going after their military and shutting their military down, but men, women, and children would also be harmed. So what does the church say about this? And because this conflict is so intricate, we'll never know all of it. I want to dumb it down all the way and give you a scenario. So here's the scenario. There is a man pointing a gun at you, and he is holding that gun at you, and he is going to shoot you. You have good evidence that he is going to kill you. Maybe he's killed others in the same fashion, but he is holding a gun at you, and he's going to shoot you. So first off, point blank, Catholic teaching says that you have the right to protect yourself. So you have the right to shoot him back. Catholic teaching would say that you should try to shoot him in a way that would not be mortal and would not kill him, but you should try to defend yourself and protect your own life. So you have that right. Now, let's say this man is pointing a gun at you and he's holding up someone in front of him. An innocent person is being held up in front of him as a body shield, but he's still going to shoot you and he's still going to kill you. Now, what do? What happens? You pull the trigger, you could hit the innocent person that he's using as a shield, or you could hit him and in him and protect yourself and the person that's being used as a shield. And we can add a little bit more complexity to this. Let's say that the man's trying to shoot you. Maybe he's not trying to shoot you. He's trying to kill your family, your kids, your wife, your whoever. What do you do? This is the principle of double effect in full motion. And this is similar, I believe, to what's happening right now in the Israeli-Iran conflict. So I want to put this out there. Do you have the right to shoot in order to stop the person who's trying to harm you, even at the risk that someone who is innocent could be harmed? So to meet the moral standard and to stay in a morally right place, especially when we're applying the rule of double effect, really 4 different standards have to be met. And we're going to go through those and put those into these scenarios. So the first standard is that the action itself must be morally good or neutral, meaning that that person who has the gun and they're trying to shoot us and they're using someone as a human body shield to protect themselves, it is a morally good thing for us to protect ourselves and care for our own lives and the lives of the charges behind us, of our family, of whoever it is that we are trying to protect. Is that a morally good thing? Yes. The Catholic Church teaches that the act of defending oneself is morally acceptable. So we have the right to defend ourselves against this person who's trying to shoot us, even though there is an innocent in the way. So if we take that to the Israeli-Iran conflict, Iran shooting missiles into Israel, trying to cause harm to Israeli civilians and Israel itself. Therefore, Israel does have the right to defend its people and go after Iran, even though there could be innocent lives at stake. And these other standards, we're going to dive further into that. But so far, that first standard is met. The second standard, the agent must intend only the good effect. So we're going to take action. This person's trying to kill us. Now we are going to respond and we're going to try to stop them. It would be morally corrupt if we said, I don't care what happens. I don't care if the innocent person dies. I don't care if the shooter dies. I don't care. I just want them to be gone. I want them gone. That would be morally corrupt. That you would lose your moral high ground in that regard, because you are saying that you don't care about what happens to an innocent life. So you've lost it. Now, if you respond in a way that is protecting the innocent life and trying to prevent them from being harmed, then you still attain the moral high ground. In the Israeli-Iran conflict, if Israel said, okay, we're done with this, we're going to wipe Iran out. We're going to take everyone out, the innocents and the people who were trying to harm us as well, that would be morally corrupt. They would lose their moral ability, their moral high ground, and they would have committed a gravely morally wrong action in that regard. But if they only intend the good effect, if they only intend stopping the people that are trying to harm them, but innocent people are harmed because Israel's trying to do that, they still have the moral high ground because they don't want any innocents to be harmed. The third standard that has to be met is the good effect cannot be achieved by means of the bad effect, meaning that the person is shooting at us, they're trying to harm us, and we say, okay, our way to finish this or way to stop this is we are going to shoot through the innocent person to get to the bad person. At that point, we are willing to sacrifice the life of the innocent person that they are protecting themselves with to stop the threat that's trying to harm us. That would not be right. Protecting yourself should not come as a direct result to harming someone else. It should not. If you said, I'm going to sacrifice them in order to save myself, then you lose the moral high ground and you've committed something of grave matter at that point. So if Israel decided to say, the only way we can get to the people who are trying to harm us is for us to wipe out all the innocents who are in our way of getting to them, Israel would have made a decision that is morally unjust, and therefore it would be unacceptable to defend Israel morally at that point. But if Israel is taking all the steps that it can to avoid harming innocent lives in order to get to the people who are trying to harm them, then they obviously care about the lives of the innocents, and they're doing what they can to stop the death of innocents. Now, there's one more standard that we have to meet, and it is the fourth standard, and that is there must be a proportionally grave reason for permitting the bad effect. So let's go back to our scenario. If the person who we said was trying to kill us, let's say they were trying to tase us instead. They were trying to shock us with electricity, and we knew we had a very good idea that after they shocked us and left us paralyzed on the ground temporarily, they were not going to do anything else to us. They weren't going to do any harm to us. They weren't going to kill us. They were just going to tase us, and they were going to leave. It would be morally unacceptable for us to say I am going to kill them to avoid myself being temporarily tased, even at the risk of harming the innocent person that they're shielding themselves with. That would be a morally unacceptable act. We can talk about this all day. Maybe you didn't know they were going to tase it. I don't know how in that situation you would know. If you didn't know what level of harm the person was going to cause you, you still have the right to defend your life. So let's go over to the Israeli-Iran conflict. So if Israel's claim is that Iran is going to bomb them with nuclear weaponry, and that is going to decimate the Israeli population, both military and innocent, then they have the right to defend yourself. That is a grave matter. Now, their response can be proportionate to the harm that will be inflicted on them. So they have the right to go and respond in a way that's going to protect them as long as they keep in mind that they are trying to protect the innocents. So because the matter is grave, we can respond in a way that is grave. But if the matter that is approaching you, if someone's approaching you with a way that isn't grave, that isn't mortally, isn't going to kill you, and you respond in a way that is going to kill them, then you've lost the moral high ground, and your act is now morally unacceptable. So those are the four standards that we have to meet to apply double effect to this situation, to our situation, and also to the Israeli-Iran conflict. A few things I want to clear up real quick is your intentions have to be good. Your primary intent should be to defend yourself or the people you're in charge of, and not to harm the innocent person. If that is not your intention, if you are willing to harm the innocent person, if you don't care about the health of the innocent person, then you've lost. The double effect does not apply to you because you've lost the morality of the situation at that point. And secondly, consider the circumstances. Are there any other options? Are there any other alternative routes that you could take that would still protect your life, protect your charges, and protect that innocent person? Are there any other options available to you? If so, explore those options. Same thing in the Israeli-Iran conflict. What are the options there? They should explore those options before they put innocent lives at danger. And I want to say again, this is all in Catholic ethical teaching, Catholic moral teaching. We're going to go to the Catechism of the Catholic Church here, paragraph 2264. It reads, "Love toward oneself remains a fundamental principle of morality. Therefore, it is legitimate to insist on respect for one's own right to life. Someone who defends his life is not guilty of murder, even if he is forced to deal his aggressor a lethal blow." And I love under this, they cite the words of St. Thomas Aquinas, which it's a great segue. If you're interested, every Wednesday we go through the Summa Theologiae. We call it Wednesdays with the Summa. So if you'd like to check out the words of St. Thomas Aquinas, what he says about theology, our study of God, what he says about different moral, ethical situations like this one, it's a great time to learn. We're learning a ton. Diving into the mind of St. Thomas Aquinas is always incredibly enriching. So if you're interested, you should check that out. We have a playlist on our YouTube channel called Wednesdays with the Summa. But let's see what St. Thomas Aquinas says here as we're quoting him. If a man in self-defense uses more than necessary violence, it will be unlawful. Whereas if he repels force with moderation, his defense will be lawful. Nor is it necessary for salvation that a man omit the act of moderate self-defense to avoid killing the other man, since one is bound to take more care of one's own life than another's. So that is the words of St. Thomas and the Catholic Church through the Catechism. And I hope doing this video really helps us understand this issue and understand what's going on. There's so many voices chiming in on this, both on the Christian side, on the Catholic side. You can find different opinions from one Catholic to another, from one Christian to another. I think a lot of us just want to know, what should we think about this issue? So hopefully this sheds some light on the issue. What should a Christian think about the conflict that's going on? What should a Catholic think about this? And we're reading all these things through the lens of the church. Again, this is not my opinion. I don't have much stock in my own opinion. I submit to the authority of the church, and I believe in what the church teaches. And again, all the scenarios we have laid out are all hypotheticals. We laid out the shooter situation. That's a true hypothetical. We laid out what we know about the Israel-Iran conflict. But do we know everything? No. Will we ever know everything? Probably not. And myself included, there's a ton that I don't know that is probably public knowledge that's out there that I just haven't come across. I've been following the news like everyone else, and the first place I'll always look to try to figure out what to think about something is the church. So hopefully this gives you the same insight on how to view it. And if you have others who are thinking through this concept, share this video with them to help them think through it how the church would. But hopefully this is helpful to you. If it was, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, and we'll see you next time.